All right, all right. Mic check, 1, 2. All right, welcome to Infantry-Mindset, video number 2. Wow. Let me do my intro. Welcome to Infantry-Mindset. We don't make excuses, we just do it. I think about how funny it is. One, I just want to say I really appreciate all the support that I got on the first video. The audio was so bad. I got this fancy microphone. I don't know if you guys can relate to this. I'm an infantry guy. I don't know too much. YouTube, all these different things. Like, okay, what do I need to be able to start a YouTube channel? And I get this camera, I get this microphone, I get this white light, and I think I'm doing good. And I make this video, and I'm like, man, I'm really proud of my video. Got to give a little bit of reaction to how I feel. And then I listened to it, and I realized how bad the audio was. And I was crushed. And I was like, you know what? Do I watch the video again, and do I remake it and like somehow kind of fake with the things that I was saying before? Because I didn't like rehearse what I was saying. It just came off the hip how I felt. And I was like, man, let me just put it out there. And you all have shown so much support. I can't tell you how much appreciative I am. And just trying to follow me through this journey, as I transition and really ultimately try to do things that in the civilian career that they could help me spend time with my family and things like that. And I got such a good reaction off the first video. I wanted to kind of follow up because I saw where Biden had actually did a one-on-one exclusive with ABC. And you know how I am. I'll tell you now, I have my own views, I have my own opinions. I don't mind telling you all, how we felt in the infantry world. How I know my brothers and sisters still feel in there just as a whole. I told you guys my wife is still in the military, so she's still knee deep in it, so I'm very, very closely attached. But I'm not going to disrespect people. I'm gonna lead with love. I am a harsh critic, but that's just because I love our country, and I think there's a lot of things that we could do better. But I said, you know what? Let me hear what Biden has to say, because maybe it was a bad night. Maybe there's something I don't know about. So I didn't watch this one ahead of time. I want to go ahead and watch it with you guys. Let's take a look and see how it goes.
iPhone 15 in a mouse size.
Maybe I need to get YouTube Premium, so like I don't have to worry about commercials. I guess I got to think about that. Yeah, let's go ahead and skip through this.
From ABC News, a special edition of This Week. President Joe Biden, his first television interview since the debate. The news-making exclusive. Now reporting from Madison, Wisconsin, George Stephanopoulos.
Good evening from Madison, Wisconsin for a special edition of This Week. The first broadcast interview with President Biden since last week's debate. Earlier this afternoon, we taped the 22-minute interview. There are no cuts, no edits. We have not touched it.
I like that.
Pivotal moment in the presidential campaign. Here it is.
I like that. No cuts, no edits. I mean, let's just hear what our commander-in-chief has to say. I felt like with President Trump and President Biden, you guys know my feeling. I don't know if, like I said, the audio was messed up, but I had this pit in my stomach when Biden was talking to some of it, and just feel like, man, that's a reflection of us. He's up there being embarrassed. I'm embarrassed because I love this country so much, and I see that. I feel like he has good intentions. I do feel like there's some stuff going on, but let's get into this. Let's see what he has to say.
Mr. President,
I hope he gets grilled. That's all I'm going to say, but we'll get into it.
Thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the debate. You and your team have said you had a bad night.
All right. Don't get mad at me. Second video, I'm giving my true feelings. I wear my heart on my heart on my sleeves or whatever it is that sounds good. But I am very emotional when it comes to this type of stuff. Like I said, when we watched the debate, it was me, bunch of my friends, we're all military. We got beers. We got the grill, cooking. It's almost like a Super Bowl game, and we really wanted to get into it. I don't like the smile to start with. I don't like the smile as though, no big deal. Just, all right, Commander in Chief, be strong. Let's get into it. I'm not going to judge. We'll get into it.
But your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode with a sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing. I had a bad night.
You say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked if they did a COVID test. We were trying to figure out what was wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, a virus. I didn't. It just had a really bad cold.
And
all right, again, man, mixed feelings because I feel bad for the old guy. I don't want to hear I was tired. Man, I don't want to hear I was tired. I think back at all the times in my career I was tired. Imagine if we're getting the bad guys and all of a sudden we just say, you know what? I'm tired. Not a good day. Let's just go pack it up, go back to the fob. We'll get them tomorrow. I don't like that excuse. I like the more humble excuse, like, hey, I messed up. I didn't have my thoughts together. It was a bad performance. There's a lot of things that I want to say that I didn't say. Let's get to the questions now. I can't do anything about the past. Let's move forward. And let me show you why, you guys can trust me as the next Commander-in-Chief for the next 4 years. That's what I want to hear. Take the responsibility, own up to it. I made a lot of mistakes in life. The worst thing you can do when you make a mistake is try to pretend like it's something else or someone else that caused that mistake. Even if it was, you can take ownership. So not really feeling that reply.
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is, what were your...
He didn't watch the debate after. Man, I made my first video 2 days ago. I watched that thing like 8 times. I was so critical of how trash the audio was. I'm like, now you're telling these people in the world to listen to you and listen to, your reactions and how you feel about certain things. And, yeah, you give them trash audio. So, you didn't watch the debate, and he had to have known that it wasn't a good show. How do you not watch it to think about some of those questions, to come back and give some real answers? So, again, I'm going to be very respectful because it is our Commander-in-Chief. But, man, that's tough to hear that you didn't watch it.
Experiencing as you were going through the debate, did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look, the whole way I prepared, nobody's fault mine. Nobody's fault but mine. I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or in the National Security Council, for explicit detail. And I realized about partway through that, I could quote as the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now, or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that when I looked at is that he also lied 28 times. The way the debate ran, not my fault, nobody else's.
Oh, man, it's going to be a long video. I don't know if this was a good idea. I don't know if it was a good idea to do this video because I got so many emotions when he goes through this. We're not asking you about how many times someone else lied. again, pushing the fact that you didn't perform the way you should have. You didn't answer questions coherently. Man, in the military, I remember as an enlisted guy, probably, at the time, probably was a specialist at the time, and had got my real first responsibility, and I had to brief a lieutenant colonel, and my first sergeant pulled me in. He's like, "Look, you're the SME, you're the subject matter expert. Whatever you say is the truth. Just say it with confidence. I know you think that, someone higher than you, above your pay grade, might know more, but I promise you they don't. They don't know more than you're telling them about what you do on an everyday basis. And so I don't care if everything that someone says isn't as accurate, as much as I care that they mean what they say and that they stand behind what they say." And so, like, if, say, for example, we'll break this down. If someone says there's 1,000 apples and there's 500, if you meant and you really felt like there was 1,000 apples, hey, I'm not too mad at that. So I don't like the fact that, we're talking about how he performed and why he couldn't speak in clear sentences. And he's blaming, President Trump on supposedly 28 lies. Because, I will follow any commander-in-chief wherever they want us to go. And that's tough to hear. It doesn't sound like he's taking accountability, even though every couple of words he's saying, it was my fault. Let's get into it.
No one else. But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night. You've had some bad interviews once in a while. I can't remember any, but I'm sure you did.
I've had plenty. I guess the question, the problem is here for a lot of Americans watching, is you've said, going back to 2020, watch me, to people who are concerned about your age. And, 50 million Americans watch that debate. It seemed to confirm fears they already had.
Well, look, after that debate, I did 10 major events in a row, including till 2 o'clock in the morning after that debate. I did events in North Carolina. I did events in Georgia. Did events like this, large crowds, overwhelming response.
It's the speed at which he's talking. It's not that he's talking slow. It's that it's like a slow motion. I can't really remember the states that I was just in. That's the part that bothers me a little bit. When we talk about, going another 4 years as our president. And this is tough. Guys, I don't know if I can get through 30 minutes of this. If it's just going to be excuse after excuse after excuse, and I'm not going to hear any real stuff, I tell you, I'm so passionate. I'll probably just have to cut the video short. And, I hope I don't upset anyone, but I can't. I've never seen this, and we're 3 minutes in? I don't know if I can deal with this for 30 minutes.
No slipping. And so I just had a bad night. I don't know why.
And how quickly did it come to you that you were having that bad night?
Well, Kaner was having a bad night when I realized that even when I was answering a question, even when I turned his mic off, he was still shouting. And I let it distract me. I'm not blaming it on that. But I realized that I just wasn't in control.
But part of the other concern is...
That's probably the realest stuff that he just ever said. That last sentence, I realized I wasn't in control. Man. As a lieutenant, they always would tell us, you're on the battleground, and, regardless of what you're doing, and there's a lot of stuff moving around, and there's, gunfire, a lot of moving parts. You got your comms right beside you. You're hearing stuff left and right. You're trying to understand the situation. They tell you, and it's very, I guess it's very important to take a tactical pause. And the reason why we take a tactical pause is so we don't lose control. Doesn't matter what's going on. There could be bullets flying left and right. You take a knee, you take the tactical pause, you figure out the situation, and then you move forward. So the fact that he realized he wasn't in control and wasn't able to get back in control or take that tactical pause and restructure the rest of the debate in a way that allowed us to see that he was still able to do the things that we believe or maybe we thought that he could do. That's troubling. That's really troubling that he would say that. And man, if you can't stay in control with someone to your left that's talking, that's kind of tough to hear on how you're going to stay in control when we've got real enemies and we've got real problems that you don't have the luxury of saying, hey, I just couldn't stay in control. This is frustrating, y'all. This is I don't know if I'm starting to think about now, like maybe I got to change up my videos. Maybe I shouldn't do something I'm so passionate about because, man, this might make me my YouTube career end pretty quickly if I'm getting frustrated like this.
Is that this seems to fit into a pattern of decline that has been reported on recently. New York Times had a headline on July 2nd, Biden's lapses are said to be increasingly common and worrisome. Here's what they wrote. People who have spent time with President Biden over the last few months or so said the lapses appear to have grown more frequent, more pronounced, and after Thursday's debate, more worrisome. By many accounts, as evidenced by video footage, observation, and interviews, Mr. Biden is not the same today as he was even when he took office 3.5 years ago. Similar reporting in the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal. Are you the same man today that you were when you took office 3.5 years ago?
In terms of successes, yes. I also was the guy who put together a peace plan for the Middle East that may be coming to fruition. I was also the guy that expanded NATO. I was also the guy that grew the economy. All the individual things that were done were ideas I had or I fulfilled. I moved on. And so, for example, well, that was true then. What's Biden done lately? It's just today, just announced 200,000 new jobs. We're moving in a direction that no one's ever taken on. I know you know this from your days in the government. I took on Big Pharma. I beat them. No one said I could beat them. I took on all the things we said we got done. We're told we couldn't get done.
Can someone tell me in the comments what did he do with Big Pharma? How did he beat the medical conglomerates? I don't get that one. So I'm not saying that he did not. I just if anyone could tell me like what happened in that situation, I really do appreciate it. I'll tell you guys and girls, I want to be politically correct. I apologize. For a long time, when I transitioned from the military in 2022, I stopped watching the news. Really, like, it started bothering me to a point where I felt like, my family is the most important thing for me to kind of focus on. And I really stopped deep diving in the news because I felt like so many, depending on what channel you watched, they were kind of, pushing towards whatever agenda they wanted. But I didn't hear about this. I didn't hear about some type of battle with Big Pharma. I would love to know more. Maybe I'll do some research on that and see, and see what he's talking about with that. But it sounds like the accountability issue is what I'm having a problem with myself. If he did good things, so here's the thing. You didn't do all these things. You and your team did it. It was a group thing, right? So evidently, it doesn't sound like he's giving a lot of credit to everyone else that's involved. But I would like to research that. All right, let's get into it, just so I'm not babbling.
The part of it is what I said when I ran was I wanted to do three things. restore some decency to the office, restore some support for the middle class instead of trickle-down economics built from the middle out and the bottom up, where the wealthy still do fine, everyone does better, and unite the country.
But what has all that work over the last 3.5 years cost you physically, mentally, emotionally?
Well, I just think it cost me a really bad night, bad run. But, George, I'm optimistic about this country. I don't think we're a country of losers. He parts out. I don't think America's in tough shape. I think America's on the cusp of breaking through in so many incredible opportunities. This next term, I'm going to make sure we have straighten out the tax system. I'm going to make sure we're in a situation where we have health care for all people, or we're in a position where we have child care and elder care, free up, and all these things. One thing I'm proudest of is, you remember when my economic plan was put forward, a lot of the mainstream economists said it's not going to work. Guess what? And now I have 16 Nobel laureates, 16 of them in economics, saying that Biden's next term would be, based on what he wants to do, enormous success. Trump's plan would cause a recession, would significantly increase inflation. I've made great progress, and that's what I plan on doing. And we can do this.
I understand that, and I'm not disputing that. What I'm asking you is about your personal situation. Do you dispute that there have been more lapses, especially in the last several months?
Can I run the 110th flat? No. But I'm still in good shape.
Yeah, that's not what we asked you, sir, Commander-in-Chief. We asked you, has there been more lapses in the last 6 to 7 months? And if there has, what's caused them? And why is the question, it seems like it's so hard to admit the apparent. I mean, it's right there. Where's the humility? Man, this is tough. This is tough. All right, let's get into it.
Are you more frail?
No.
I know you
I'll keep my schedule.
I know you spoke with your doctor after the debate. What did he say?
He just looked at me. He said, "You're exhausted." I said, "I am medical doctors travel everywhere, every president does, Medical doctors, some of the best in the world, travel me everywhere I go. I have an ongoing assessment of what I'm doing. And they don't hesitate to tell me if they think there's something wrong."
I know you said you have an ongoing assessment. Have you had a full neurological and cognitive evaluation?
I get a full neurological test every day with me. And I've had a full physical. I had, I've done a Walter Reed for my physicals.
This is where there's one thing to want to be the president. There's the other thing to, are you putting our country in danger because maybe there's something going on that you don't know what's going on. The question about having you gotten a full neurological test, it's not anything bad. I mean, if there's something going on, wouldn't you want to find out so that the country that you have decided to be the president in is in the best shape possible? Because if I'm president and I'm having people tell me, "Hey, you look like you're different now. Is something going on? Can we give you a full neurological test to make sure that everything's good to go?" I'm going to say yes, of course. Why would I not? Because if there's something wrong, I want to make sure, one, the problem gets addressed, but then two, then I'm not putting the country I love in danger. It seems like it's almost like it's almost like your duty to make sure that there's something that's not, and you don't get a full neurological exam every day. Don't be facetious with us. And I learned that word a couple months ago. Don't be facetious with us. All right, let's get into it.
Yes.
I know your doctor said he consulted with a neurologist. I guess I'm asking you a slightly different question. Have you had the specific cognitive tests, and have you had a neurologist, a specialist, do an examination?
No one said I had to. No one said, they said I'm good.
Would you be willing to undergo an independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test. Everything I do. Not only am I campaigning, but I'm running the world. And that's not how it sounds like hyperbole. But we are the essential nation in the world. I don't know if it was...
Can someone put in the chat what hyperbole sounds like? What that sounds like. What hyperbole means? Sorry, I got distracted. I don't know what that word means.
Right. That every single day, for example, today, before I come out here, I'm on the phone with Prime Minister, anyway, I shouldn't get into detail, but with Netanyahu. I'm on the phone with the new Prime Minister of England. I'm working on what we're doing with regard to, in Europe, with regard to expansion of NATO and whether it's going to stick. I'm taking on Putin. Every day, there's no day I go through that not...
Did he say he's taking on Putin? I don't understand that comment. Oh, all right, we'll get into it. I'll tell you, I'm not going to get through this 30 minutes. I don't know if I'm built for this. It might look right now that I'm very calm. I'm very frustrated right now.
Those decisions I have to make every single day.
And you have been doing that, and American people have been watching, yet their concerns about your age and your health are growing. So that's why I'm asking, to reassure them, would you be willing to have the independent medical evaluation?
Watch me there's a lot of time left in this campaign. So over 125 days.
So the right answer right now is no, you don't want to do that right now.
We've already done it.
You talked a lot about your successes at the beginning of this interview, and I don't want to dispute that. I don't want to debate that. But as you know, elections are about the future, not the past. They're about tomorrow, not yesterday. And the question on so many people's minds right now is, can you serve effectively for the next 4 years?
George, I'm the guy that put NATO together, the future. No, it's all like an expediency.
I wish, I don't even want to see what my heart rate is right now. Wow. This is frustrating. If anyone else saw this ahead of time, put your comments in the chat on if you were able to get through the entire one-on-one, because this is tough. This is he's defensive. He's not saying the things that I want him to say as someone that I admire and I want to believe in. Like I said, I am more conservative than liberal, but at the same time, whoever is our president, I want to believe you. I want you to win. I want our country to do well. This is very tough. This is very tough, and we're 10 minutes in. We got 20 minutes left, and I haven't heard a direct answer to any question yet, which bothers me. Let's get into it.
I'm the guy that shut Putin down. Little thought could happen. I'm the guy that put together the South Pacific Initiative with AUKUS. I'm the guy that got 50 nations out, not only in Europe, outside of Europe as well, and help Ukraine. I'm the guy that got Japanese to expand their budget. For example, when I decided we used to have 40%.
He got the Japanese to expand their budget. I don't even know what that means. Did he get Japan? And talking about Japan, is our president talking about he got Japan to expand their budget? Can someone put in the comments what he's talking about? And when did he take on Putin and when? I'm still not understanding that comment. That's I feel, you know, I really feel bad for. I feel bad for the people that they feel like they need a Democratic president, and this is who they have to work with. It's almost like man, if you I'm not even gonna use an analogy because I would just be disrespectful. But it's I feel bad for those people, the ones that say, you know what, I cannot survive if a Republican president takes office. You know, those individuals, I feel bad for them to have our president in this shape to be the answer for the next 4 years, because you know, I'm smart enough to understand that I don't want to be disrespectful. Let's get into it.
Percent computer chip. We invented the chip, a little chip, computer chip. It's in everything from cell phone to weapons. And so we used to have 40%, and we're down to virtually nothing. So I get in a plane that gives you advice to everybody, and I fly to South Korea. I convinced them to invest in the United States, billions of dollars. Now we have tens of billions of dollars being invested in the United States, making us back in a position where we're going to own that industry again. We have, I mean, I just, anyway, I don't want to take too much credit. I have a great staff.
But I guess my point is, all that takes a toll. Do you have the mental and physical capacity to do it for another 4 years?
I believe so. I wouldn't be running if I didn't think I did. Look, I'm running again because I think I understand best what has to be done to take this nation to a completely new level. We're on our way. And look, the decision recently made by Supreme Court on immunity, you know, the next president of the United States, it's not just about whether he or she knows what they're doing. It's not about a conglomerate of people making decisions. It's about the character of the president. The character of the president is going to determine whether or not this Constitution is employed the right way.
Let me ask you a tougher, more personal question. Are you sure you're being honest with yourself and you say you have the mental and physical capacity to serve another 4 years?
Yes, I am, because, George, the last thing I want to do is not be able to meet that. I think, as some of the senior economists and senior foreign policy specialists say, if I stop now and go down history as a pretty successful president, no one's going to get there what we got done.
But are you being honest with yourself as well about your ability to defeat Donald Trump right now?
Yes.
You say that, and let me challenge.
Before he asked this question, is there anyone that thinks that and if you do, please again, I don't want to be disrespectful. Does anyone think that our president could beat Donald Trump as it stands? I think that's a tough one. I think that's a tough ask. I think it's a tough ask. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I think it's a tough ask. He sounds very confident. And I'm wondering what is giving him that confidence, and maybe who's around him that's maybe not being very honest with him. Maybe it's they're just not being honest with him. And you know, I've heard things about how his son is now helping him, some type of advisor, and Dr. Biden, his wife, is also really adamant that our president's going to remain our president. So, maybe family loves you, more than anything. But you know what? I want my family to sit me down when it's time to sit down. I don't want to be that. Like he said, he has the potential to really, really affect the country in a positive way. if there is something wrong with him and he doesn't admit it or even allow medical exams that maybe could determine it. And I heard all this stuff about how, all this funding that I guess one side has gotten for Biden, and it's so hard to get someone else to come in because of that funding, and he would have to actually have to remove himself so it doesn't get messy. And maybe the current or vice president would step up and take over. But I think the right thing to do, unless in the next 28 minutes or somehow he does another video that kind of changes things, or hey, I'm not against, I heard someone say that the president was could have been allegedly given some medication to make him perform better, or I'm not against anything that's going to enhance you in a positive way, if that's what he needs to survive. But man, this is rough. I'm just going to babble, y'all. I'm sorry. Video number 2. If you're still with me, I appreciate you. Thank you for even taking the time to to listen to an old infantry guy give his opinion. But I'm very passionate about this, and this is I thought this was going to be different when I saw the title. I thought this was going to be President Biden just talking about the mistakes he made, and then just explaining, hey, this is what I meant to say, guys. Don't give up on me. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. I didn't know it was going to be like this, so this is a little bit difficult to watch.
Because you were close, but behind going into the debate. You're further behind now by any measure. It's been a 2-minute race for several months. Inflation has come down. In those last few months, he's become a convicted felon, yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, do you know polling data really, buddy? You think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
I don't think so, but I think when you look at all of the polling data right now, it shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote, probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there is it shows that in many of the battleground states, the Democrats who are running for Senate in the House are doing better than you are.
Well, that's not unusual with some states. We carried an awful lot of Democrats last time I ran in 2020. Look, I remember them telling me the same thing in 2020. I can't win. The polls show I can't win. Remember 2020, the red wave was coming. Before the vote, I said, that's not going to happen. We're going to win. We did better in all three than almost any incumbent president ever has done. They said in 2023, all the tough races we're not going to win. I went into all those areas, all those districts, and we won.
All that is true, but 2020 was a close race, and your approval rating has dropped significantly since then. I think the last poll I saw was about 36%. The number of Americans who think you're too old to serve has doubled since 2020. Wouldn't a clear-eyed political calculus tell you that it's going to be much tougher to win in 2024?
Not when you're running against a pathological liar. Not when he hadn't been challenged in a way that he's about to be challenged. Not when people...
You've had months to challenge him.
Oh, I sure had months, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars around the world, like keeping NATO together, like working... Anyway. But look...
Do you really believe you're not behind right now?
I think it's... all the pollsters I talk to tell me it's a toss-up.
I honestly, I don't know what to say other than I think that if I had to give him some grace, if I had to give our president some grace, I want to be very respectful. I think people are telling them the wrong information. I don't think he's being honest with himself, or I think maybe he's believing someone around him that's telling him that things are not as bad as they are. And you know what? Shame on the people around him that aren't being real. I think that this is something you can't hide, and this bothers me. This would bother me if it was a Republican president or a Democratic president. It's not It's not what side of the aisle they're on. It's our commander-in-chief in this situation, being this defensive, showing that he's this vulnerable and fragile, I think. And then, the laughs, the not answering the questions directly, the smirks, the blaming it on him being tired, all of these things, I think, is causing me to really hope and pray that everyone just puts a bipartisan hat on and looks at the situation and makes the best decision they can, because I think he is right. I think that this election could really make or break us if we make the wrong decision. And I'm not saying don't vote who you want to vote for. I'm saying that it's got to be kind of tough to vote for our current president in this condition, and I told you in the previous video how we felt about President Trump and how good he was to us in the military. But I understand the military is 1%, not a big part, right? I'm not saying that President Biden wasn't a good president for the military. I'm saying that President Trump was the best I've ever served under. But I will say that maybe someday I will kind of talk about why I decided to hang it up. And some of it did have to do with me, the conditions changing, and me seeing some things that were changing because of administrations, and just kind of feeling like, getting older in life, I'm not going to complain. Maybe it's time to let the young guys take over, because I wanna love our country, our commander-in-chief, and I don't want to be the person that is upset about things. But I'll say that my feelings about leaving the military and being frustrated with some of the things that we're going through, it wasn't under President Trump. So I'll say that, and I'll leave it alone. That's not to say that the respect for our current president is there. I respect him deeply, and I want to make sure I'm not being disrespectful. But things are changing. I don't like the way they're changing, and I don't think that at this point our current president is showing us why he can really do it for another 4 years, and it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch for me. I'm going to stop blabbing. Let's get into it.
It's a toss-up. And when I'm behind, there's only one poll I'm really far behind. CBS poll and NBC, and
New York Times and NBC both have you about 6 points behind in the popular vote.
That's exactly right. New York Times had me behind before, and he happened to do with this race. Had me behind 10 points. 10 points had me behind. Not this cheated substances in the New York Times poll.
Just when you look at the reality, though, Mr. President, you won the popular vote in 2020, but it was still deadly close in the electoral college.
You're one vote.
Yes, but you're behind now in the popular vote.
I don't buy that.
Is it worth the risk?
I don't think anybody's more qualified to be president or win this race than me.
The heart of your case against Donald Trump is that he's only out for himself, putting his personal interest ahead of the national interest. How do you respond to critics who say that by staying in the race, you're doing the same thing?
Oh, come on. Well, I don't think.
Again, I don't understand what the laughing is about. And the smiling and the smirking, it seems to me like a serious question. What do you say to people that are saying that you're putting your own greed for being president in front of the country? Like, let us know why it's not just you being stubborn and saying, hey, I can do this. And it's why the country needs you to be president. Like, what? Let us know why. I don't like the smile. He's kind of dismissing it. It's almost as though that's a silly question to ask. And going back, thinking about the beginning of this video when he said that he has not yet watched the debate. Man, that is very concerning to me, that to have such a poor performance and have so many people say that, hey, something's going on and we want to make sure you're okay, to not go back and watch and see what everyone's talking about is very, very concerning to me. And then the laugh and the smirk, and I'm going to listen to his answer, but I don't think I'm going to like what he has to say. We'll see.
If those critics know what they're talking about.
They're just wrong.
He's wrong. Look, Trump is a pathological liar. Trump is, he is. Have you ever seen anything Trump did that benefited somebody else, not him? I'm sure you can't answer, I know.
I've questioned him and his allies as persistently as any journalist.
No, I know you have. I'm not being critical. I'm not being critical. But look, I mean, the man is a congenital liar. As I said, they pointed out in that debate he lied 27, 28 times the times, or whatever number, over 20 times. Talk about how good his economy was, how he brought down inflation, how this is a guy.
It's not about how you feel about former President Trump. It's about, are you mentally capable of continuing to be our president for the next 4 years? And why did the world see you in that state in the first debate? That's the question. We're not questioning how you feel about someone else running for president. I think he's misunderstanding what people are worried about. It's you can hate one side, you can say that one person is the worst and they don't need to be president, but why is it that you feel like you need to be the hero that is gonna maintain this ship? Are you saying there's no one else in the United States from the left that is able to do just as good of a job? And if you're saying that, then why are we seeing what we're seeing now? I don't understand that. It's like this is probably going to be a bad video. If you guys watch this and you say don't judge me, I apologize ahead of time. I will get better. All right, let's get into it.
Who, unlike only other president other him is Hoover, who lost more jobs than he created. He's the guy who told us to put breach in our arms to deal with COVID, when over a million people died. This is the guy who talks about wanting to get rid of the healthcare provision we put in place. This is the guy who wants to give the power back to big pharma, to be able to charge exorbitant prices for drugs. This is the guy who wants to undo every single thing I've done. Every single day.
I understand that, and I understand that's why you want to stay in the race, but have you convinced yourself that only you can defeat him?
I convinced myself of two things. I'm the most qualified person to beat him, and I know how to get things done.
If you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
What's the times unless the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that I might do that?
Well,
it's a serious question, and don't play with God. This entire country was built on faith. I know we don't talk about it a lot anymore, and I have my own views and opinions on that. But I don't want to hear our president say, if the Lord Almighty taps me on the shoulder and tells me, that's a little bit disrespectful and it's a little bit too playful for a serious question. This is a serious question. He's asking him a serious question. I like this interview. I hate this interview, but it's not because of the interviewer. It's because I don't like our commander-in-chief's responses, the accountability aspect, but I do like the questions. And I thought that they were going to be layup questions, and I thought that this was going to be something that was more palatable. Is that the right word to use? Is palatable the right? I thought that it was going to be more palatable to listen to. It doesn't sound like our president knew what the questions were going to be, because if he did, he definitely didn't study. He definitely did not study for this. So I do like that aspect, but this is tough. That I think coherently it sounds better, but I don't know if it's any better than what we just watched a couple of weeks ago.
And on a more practical level, Washington Post just reported in the last hour that Senator Mark Warner is assembling a group of senators together to try to convince you to stand down because they don't think you can win. Well,
is that true? Somebody tell me in the comments. Is Warner really assembling a group? Wow. Imagine. Wow. If the party turns on President Biden, I hope he understands that it could get very dangerous for him and his family, not in a malicious way, or maybe in a malicious way, not in a physical way, but I know that he's aware that his son has gotten all this trouble, and that he's been talked about being maybe not fully involved, but maybe that allegedly there was some backdoor type of thing. I don't think that he is above any group that decides that if it's time for him to step down. I hope that he listens to that. And I didn't know that was happening. I think if that does happen, it should happen sooner rather than later. Someone definitely needs to have a real discussion. I wonder, here's a question for me. How often do you think that our vice president talks to President Biden, just in general? Like, man, that was rough. Are you okay? What can I do to help? Do you think it's good to get a checkup? I did notice some things. President, I love you, but I'm seeing some things I need to know. I think about now, the problem. I've always had this problem in my life. It's hard for me to not say what I feel, and I had to learn very quickly in the military that was the only way to make sure that your opinions and views didn't push down to your soldiers. So I didn't have social media. I've never had an Instagram, never had a Twitter or X now, or Snapchat. My family has a Facebook. My wife controls that. Pictures of the kids to keep up because we've traveled so much. But I've never done the views and opinions online, because I know that that's one thing that you can't take back. And if you say something that offends someone, ultimately you could lose your career. And not only that, you could affect other people, and maybe you didn't mean to do that. And so that's why I've never done it. But I wonder if he's taking any of that in consideration. And I wonder if our vice president is having any. Is she even allowed to have those type of conversations with him? I would assume so. It's like, I would assume so. I would assume that, just like mom and dad in the military, mom's the officer, dad's, the enlisted. But just like mom and dad in the military, they got to be able to check each other to a certain extent. You're still the boss, but my sergeant major, my first sergeant, they still got to be able to come to me and check me and tell me, hey, sir, I think that this is what it should be. And I can respectfully either agree or disagree, but at least listen. I wonder if they're having those conversations. Just a thought, and let's get into it.
Mark is a good man. We've never had that. He also tried to get the nomination too. Mark's not. Mark and I have a different perspective. I respect him.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
I go into detail on them. I've spoken to all of them in detail, including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. No one said, none of them said I should leave.
But if they do?
Oh, it's like, we're not going to do that.
You sure?
Well, yeah, sure. Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, and get out of the race, the Lord Almighty's not coming down. I mean, these hypotheticals, George,
But it's not that hypothetical anymore. I grant that they have not requested the meeting, but it's been...
I've met with them. I've met with a lot of these people. I've talked with them right tonight. I had an hour conversation with Hakeem. I had more time with them than Jim Clyburn. I spent time with many hours off and on the last little bit with Chuck Schumer. It's not like I had all the governors. I
agree that the Lord Almighty is not going to come down, but if you are told reliably from your allies, from your friends and supporters in the Democratic Party, in the House and the Senate, that they're concerned you're going to lose the House and the Senate if you stay in, what will you do?
I'm not going to answer that question. It's not going to happen.
What's your plan to turn the campaign around?
Saw it today. How many features?
I'm missing? What am I missing? What did he do on this day that was so great? And if he did something earlier this day, maybe he should have pushed this interview to the next morning when when our president was more fresh. This is I'm gonna go when I finish this. This is tough. This is tough. Man, this is so tough. I really don't want. What do we have? 10 more minutes. I'm sorry. I apologize now because this is a rough video for me to get through. And I really don't know what to say without being disrespectful. I'm gonna go work out. When I finish this video, I'm gonna go work out, go do some pull-ups, some push-ups, maybe hit the punching bag. I gotta do something because I'm very frustrated and very angry with the nonchalant and the attitude that our president has, and because I want to believe him. Hey, that's the thing. I want to believe that it was a bad day. I want to believe it, right? Not because I feel like any other way, but it's our commander-in-chief, and at that point, I want to believe that you're not going to lie to us, and it's the honest truth, and I'm struggling with believing what he's saying, and that's tough to watch. It's almost like I'm being let down right now, so.
You didn't draw crowds like I drew today. You find any more enthusiastic the other day? Huh?
I mean, I don't think you want to play the crowd game. Donald Trump can draw big crowds. There's no question about that.
I can draw a big crowd, but what does he say? Who's he at? I'm the guy supposedly in trouble. We raised $38 million within 4 days after this, over wherever were a million individual contributors. Individual contributors. Less than $200. I mean,
is that true? Somebody put in the comments. Is there a way to find out if he said over the last couple of days, 4 days, within 4 days, he raised $38 million after the debate, and a million individual contributors of $200. I would love for someone to tell me in the comments how I can check to see. Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm seeing an issue that no one else is seeing. I can tell you that as a whole, in the infantry world, my opinions are very much shared with this situation. So I know I'm not off there, but maybe in the civilian world, maybe there's something that I'm not seeing, and maybe I'm off. Maybe the majority and the masses see him as still being the president that was elected, and still being that person that can run the country for another 4 years. I'd love to get your opinion on that.
I've not seen what you're proposing.
You haven't seen the fall off in the polls. You haven't seen the reports of discontent in the Democratic Party, House Democrats, Senate Democrats.
I've seen it from the press.
I've heard from dozens of your supporters over the last few days, and a variety of views. I grant you that. But the prevailing sentiment is this. They love you. And they will be forever grateful to you for defeating Donald Trump in 2020. They think you've done a great job as president, a lot of the successes you outlined. But they are worried about you and the country, and they don't think you can win. They want you to go with grace, and they will cheer you if you do. What do you say to them?
I see the vast majority are not where those folks are.
Wow. I didn't know he was going to say that. So that's powerful. They love you. They appreciate what you've done. They want to cheer for you. They want to build a monument and a library and all these other things that we do for past presidents. They would like you to bow out with grace. Man, that's powerful. Is that true? If that's true, I need to do some more research on that, because if he's going rogue here, that's a different situation. I don't know if I'm supposed to believe the interviewer or President Biden. He's saying that he's got 1 million individual contributors at $200 in the last 4 days after the debate. And then I'm hearing that there's basically a coup. Well, maybe not a coup. Maybe a thank you for your service. But it's time for you to step down and let the young guys take over. Man, that sounds familiar. I'm going to do a lot of research after this.
I don't doubt there's some folks there. Have you ever seen a group at a time when elected officials running for office aren't a little worried? I've never seen that. I've not. Same thing happened in 2020. Oh, Biden, I don't know where's it going to go. I might bring me down in that.
Mr. President, I've never seen a president at 36% approval get reelected.
Well, I don't believe that's my approval. That's not what our polls show.
And if you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and did the good job as I know I can do. That's what this is about. But George.
It's not about that. It's not about as long as you give it your all. It's about who is the best person for the job. It's not about that. I think that he's sincerely misunderstands the role. This is not a role where you get an A+ for doing your best effort. This is a role where you have to be the best, and if you're not the best, it's okay to let someone else step into that role. It's not about as long as I did my best, I'll sleep at night. That makes no sense. And the rest of the world doesn't operate like that. It's an elected position. It's not about as long as I think I did my best. This is bad for, I don't think this makes our president look any better. I actually feel like it might double down on some of the views that people started seeing after the debate. I tell you, I've had a lot of conversations with people on the left and on the right, and some people that don't want to identify with their views, and that's fine. And I haven't saw anyone or haven't talked to anyone that said that the debate wasn't really rough and that and they weren't concerned. I haven't heard anyone say, "Oh yeah, it was just a bad day. Trust me, he's good to go." No one I've talked to has said that in the military or outside of the military. So I'm trying to understand, what he means by as long as I try my best, I'm okay. I'm okay, and I can sleep at night. Let's get into it.
Think of it this way. You've heard me say this before. I think the United States and the world is at an inflection point where the things that happen in the next several years are going to determine what the next 6-7 decades is going. And who's going to be able to hold the NATO together like we? Who's going to be able to be in a position where...
Someone tell me in the comments what he's doing to hold NATO together. I'm lost on this. There's some foreign policy that I don't know about. What is he doing that is holding NATO together? I mean, we're the glue for the whole world. It's not our president that's the glue. It's the United States of America is the glue for the entire world. We are single-handedly the reason why countries just don't act up. It's not because they don't want to act up. It's because they're weighing the benefits and the repercussions behind acting up. And they're saying, you know what, we don't like you talking about the United States, but we also don't want to deal with you, so we'll fall in line. So the whole holding NATO together, I'm lost on that comment. And again, maybe I think that in the future when I do these videos, maybe I'll do a little bit more research so I can at least have something intelligent to say when he comes up with these responses, because I'm just not aware. And I hope that I can read some comments and you guys will catch me up to speed.
I'm able to keep the Pacific Basin in a position where we're at least checkmating China now. Who's gonna do that? Who has that reach? Who knows all these? We're gonna have, I guess, well, go ahead and judge me, because you're gonna have now the NATO conference here in the United States next week. Come listen. See what they say.
Mr. President, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Wow. That was rough. Here's what I want to say. I'm concerned. Just because I think that there could be some people to the left and right of our president that is misleading him in believing something is better than what it is. And I hope we're able to step in and really kind of figure that out. And if he's okay, I hope I can watch a video that really proves that he's where we need him to be. With that being said, man, this is I know we're over 30 minutes. If you're still here, I appreciate you so much. Video number 2, again, just an infantry guy in the civilian world now, trying to find a way to do something I'm passionate about. Maybe just give you some insight on some of the thoughts that I've had for a long time that couldn't really address or say. But also I will say, I don't watch cable anymore. I watch a lot of YouTube. I go down rabbit holes and I'll watch, someone building a house all the way to, traveling around the world. And so I feel like this is a good space where someone like myself, I could build a platform that people could interact with and maybe discuss different things. You'll never, and you can mark my words on this, You'll never ask for a dollar. I don't want anybody's money. I don't want anything of value that could take away from your family. For me, in the military, we don't want handouts. But what I would like, if you think this has been entertaining or, maybe for positive motivation, give me a like, give me a subscribe, leave a comment, let me interact with you. I will grow. I'll get better at this. I will start, maybe doing a little bit more research, and I'm trying you all, to not be disrespectful. That's my biggest thing now, is that, I want to spread love. I want to spread peace and happiness to everyone. I would like to share my views and opinions, because I feel like so many people, in my life have similar views, and they don't speak out in the military because we know that there are repercussions that come behind it. So if you find out that this was entertaining, or you're still here, let me know. If you want to give me some advice on what you think I should react to, or maybe some things I can do to better help out with the videos, please leave a comment, send me a DM. I appreciate all the love and support. Infantry Mindset. Again, we don't make excuses, we just do it. Until